Hi, I'm Matt Johnson with Flourishing. I'm a clarity coach here, and I do that all around the world. And I am a associate marriage and family therapist in California, hoping to get licensed in California and here in Tennessee, where I now reside. Every time I say the word hoping, it stings a little bit because what I really want to say is, "Hi, I'm Matt Johnson, licensed marriage and family therapist in Tennessee and California." But that didn't happen. What happened was I failed 90 days ago by 4 to 8 points. Uh, it's a bummer because I had this expectation. I had studied for hours and I went to school. I got straight A's, and I'm part of networks and groups of friends who come to me for law and ethics questions, who come to me for uh, intervention ideas and insight. Uh, and I love sharing all that, and I love reading. I read so much about psychology and what's going on in the world. And here I am. I'm justifying something that I feel didn't happen fairly. I got this automatic negative thought in my head that maybe I'm not good enough or that I'm going to fail the next time. And the reality is, I have dyslexia. It's hard for me to study for the test, and it's hard for me to take the test. It's 4 hours, and the more I read, the more likely I'm going to make up a word that doesn't exist in there, or see the word not when it's never there, or, misunderstand something, or just get tired because it just takes so long for me to read. I know that I'm going to have support this time. I'm going to have someone to read the questions to me. I'm going to have extra time. Uh, but it's hard for me to want to study or open the book because I got this heaviness that, like, what if I fail again? That was really disappointing. That was painful. Or I have to shoo away, like, maybe you're not good enough. Like this imposter syndrome. And, sometimes these, we call them automatic negative thoughts. They're not always negative. They're usually wrapped in some kind of half truth, but they're not useful. They crawl around in our brain and they make life feel heavier. For example, it can turn your morning, like stubbing your toe or waking up late, into a whole ruined day. So instead of saying, like, I'm running late or I'm having a bad moment, we're having a bad day, we're having a bad life. And man, these automatic negative thoughts love to have a feast in your brain, and they bring all their friends with them. Like there's the all or nothing ant, and that's when, like, if things aren't perfect, it's a total failure. Or the blaming ant, right? It's all their fault, or it's all my fault, which you kind of saw me do right here. Maybe I'll edit that out. The comparing ant, they're better, so I'm not good enough. I probably had that in the intro as well. The emotional ant, that's where, because I feel it feels like the right thing to do, I have to do it. But that doesn't always work out in life, right? Because not everything that feels good is good for you, and not everything that, feels bad is bad for you, right? Like I like to think about blueberry muffins. And that's not true. I like to eat blueberry muffins, especially the ones you get like at a wholesale store. And sometimes I think, oh, I had that one blueberry muffin, that's good. Two will be better. And that's never, ever been true, right? Where were we? We're talking about ants. There's the fairy ant. The fairy ant says life should always be fair or it's bad. But that doesn't ever work out because honestly, some of the best times in my life is when I got treated unfairly. Because that's the beauty of life, right? Reliant K says, the beauty of grace is that it makes life not fair. So we don't really want fair. We want our expectations to be met. We want things to work out the way they should, um, or the way we think they should. Another type of ant is a fortune telling ant. That's when someone says, "I know exactly what you're going to say," or "I know exactly how this is going to turn out," and there's a part of me that it doesn't even have to be like we know exactly, but like for me with this test, I'm afraid that it will happen exactly the way it turned out before. There's the if only ant. That is when we say, I'll be happy when X happens. I'll be happy when I get a girlfriend. I'll be happy when I pass the test. I'll be happy when I stop drinking, or I'll be happy when he stops drinking. Then there's also the labeling ant. That's the one who puts a label on themselves and on other people. I'm a loser. I'm worthless. I'm no good. I'm not enough. Another one is the mind reading ant. That's when I know exactly what you're thinking. Uh, or just the bad ant. That's when we forget all the good and we just focus on the bad. The guilt beating ant. That is when we should all over ourselves, right? I should have done this. I must do this. I have to do this, or else I'm awful. And then there's the self righteous ant. I'm right, you're wrong, end of the story. So, what do you do once you recognize that you have an ant crawling around? Well, what you need to do is catch it and you need to squish it. So, the best way to squash an ant is to identify it, to rank how distressing it is in your life. Write down the whole thought. I'm not enough. What if I fail again? I'm no good. Uh, it's not fair, or it's all her fault, or anything it could be. And then I want you to rank how distressing it is. Like for me, it's hindering me from wanting to study, so that's pretty distressing. It's getting in the way of creating a better and flourishing life financially, let alone just beating myself up in my head every single day. So I might rank it as like a 9 or a 10, right? And so then we need to check the facts. We need to challenge this thought. So what proof do I have that it's 100% true? What proof do I have that this thought might not be true? What would a friend, a teacher, a trusted person, or an author say about this thought? Also, maybe flip it around. What if someone else told you about that thought? What would you say to them? I bet it's not the same thing you're saying to yourself over and over again. So once we're able to catch it, write it down, challenge it, then we want to replace it with a more helpful thought. It's coming up with a new way to think about the situation. Full transparency. For 90 days, I have not gone back onto the website with all the study material for the exam because I'm stuck. And so, one thing I can tell myself is, hey, Matt, here's another opportunity for you to learn more and to be a better therapist. That feels good, but also I know the camera's on and I'm trying to control my face. But it's true, right? That this doesn't have to be a wasted experience. So let's be real for a second. Sometimes we can't label the ant or recognize what we're going through or challenge it or reframe it or speak nice to ourselves because we're too overwhelmed. We're emotionally flooded. We're too close to the situation. There's too many ants crawling around. So I'm going to give you 4 ways, 4 Ds to help you with that. The first D is to delay. Give yourselves 20 minutes before you agree to argue with yourself or make any agreements with yourself. I do this every morning. If you're like me, every morning I wake up with stress and drama and automatic negative thoughts, even just like, where am I? Sometimes I wake up like, where am I? What's going on? And I've just learned, don't make any agreements. Don't argue with yourself. Don't have any discussions until you finished a cup of coffee. Because usually by the time I make the cup and finish it, it's been 20 minutes and those thoughts aren't there anymore. They go away. The next thing is to distract myself. This could be shifting your focus to an activity or using mindful breathing, just something enough like something to keep you going from something else. If you're a parent, it's just like getting your kids ready for school, right? It could just be like picking an outfit for a day. Or if you're at work, go for a walk, take a break, go for a run, just distract yourself. Talk to a friend. Distract yourself for about 20 minutes and usually you can come back and challenge this ant again. The other one is de-stress. So the box breathing I mentioned, stretching, using the Calm app, watching ASMR videos on TikTok or YouTube could just help us to de-stress and slow down. The next one is to de-catastrophize. Challenge the worst case scenario. Or just recognize when you are in that all or nothing thinking and it's just negative, 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 and you're blowing it up more and more and more. When that happens, de-catastrophize by using one of the other D's, right? Delay, distract, distress. And I'm going to put that at flourishingoak.com for you as well. So once we're at a place where we don't feel flooded by emotion, then we can come back and challenge those automatic negative thoughts. And so, real quick, right? We catch the ant, we write it down, we rate it, and then we challenge it by asking ourselves, is it 100% true? Is there anything that disproves it, right? What would a friend, teacher, spiritual leader say, therapist say about this automatic negative thought? And then reevaluate. Once we realize that that automatic negative thought's no longer there, then we can replace it with something more helpful. I like an opportunity to share these videos with you and to be vulnerable with you because a lot of you are vulnerable with me. You reach out to me through flourishingup.com as a clarity coach, or you share your story with me as a therapist. And I love when we can have these shared experiences when we can both say, hey, I suck at this, but I'm really good at this. Sometimes we need help. We need a team around us to remind us of our worth and our value. There's a saying that says, someone's inability to see your value doesn't diminish your worth. But the reality is, at least for me, the person who doesn't always see the worth is myself. So let's start by challenging that automatic negative thought. You are worth a great life. You are worth a flourishing life. You are worth a second chance. You are worth um, a reset, a restart, a do-over. So let's do that to ourselves. We show that grace to a lot of our loved ones. Let's show it to ourselves because we're not going to help someone we don't love. So let's love ourselves. And so I hope this video was encouraging for you. I'm going to have links in descriptions to my website where you can connect with me or people on my team. You can find me on Psychology Today. And then I'll have those downloads at flourishingoak.com. Thanks for listening to me. Wish me luck. Give me positive vibes, positive energy as I take this exam here in the next couple weeks. Have a wonderful week.